So even after he was not a part of the Nation of Islam, Dr. Khalid still supported Farrakhan, and he supported the Million Man March. He supported it passionately. He was in complete support of Farrakhan and the Million Man March in 1995. Now, of course, in 1995, the Million Man March went on, and of course, Dr. Khalid was not allowed to speak. He should have spoke. The Million Man March went on. Khalid defended it. And there were plenty of people critiquing the Million Man March in 95. Dr. John Henry Clark was not a fan of the Million Man March. Steve Coakley wasn't a fan, but eventually got on board Steve Coakley. And a lot of others wasn't a fan of the Million Man March. They just saw it as another march.
Million Youth March. If it was only one shining example of who Dr. Khalid was and what he meant to black people, it would most certainly be his words and actions leading up to and during the Million Youth March in the heart of Harlem, New York, which he had organized in 1998.
Bird in the white sky, but whenever they see me, they just see a fat turd when they ride by. Like we pieces of shit, but fuck what you last heard, nigga, I'm high. You ain't making no sense, but I'll get the last word like a
My answer is a question to you. Why not a Million Man March? You say, what is the purpose of a Million Man March? I say anytime a million black men can come together in unity, it is the most important and overwhelming and necessary event and happening and occurrence.
I was born with a talent to live from my voice to the day that I empty these lungs. I will accept any challenge. I'm wreaking havoc until every victory's won. There's no better feeling than living the life of freedom, and my people is giving me love. I have a dream. One day my children could walk down the street with some high self-esteem. That they could go anywhere that they wanted to go if they wanted, and I just believe that they could be anything that they wanted to be, and they'll see it if I gotta bleed in the world while I'm walking my girls and they place and they give us their face like,
man, y'all gotta leave. Damn. No blacks in the park. No blacks in the park. They gon' tear down the park because it's blacks in the park. What are you doing here?
Good evening from Washington, where the heart of the Capitol has been filled today with African-American men, a huge crowd, hundreds of thousands, young and old, from all corners of the country, here to participate in ceremonies of celebration, atonement, protest, here to be praised and challenged by black preachers and politicians, poets and entertainers. At the end of the day, a long, passionate, and confrontational speech from the controversial leader of this march, Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam.
Farrakhan had called for 1 million men to meet in Washington, D.C. on October 16, 1995. A million showed up. At least that's what the march organizers estimated. Of course, the U.S. government and the white media reported the attendance at approximately just 400,000.
With hatred and anti-Semitism, he didn't bring it through me because my heart was dark and I'm filled with hatred for white people and for the human family of the planet. If my heart were that dark, how is the message so bright, the message so clear, the response so magnificent?
No blacks in the park. They gon' tear down the park because it's blacks in the park. What are you doing here? This is my subdivision.
We responded to a call.
Who are you here to
And look at what is present here today. We have here those brothers with means and those who have no means. Those who are light and those who are dark. Those who are educated, those who are uneducated. There's a new black man in America today. A new black woman in America today.
blacks in the park. No blacks in the park. They try to tell us to keep out, but we always come back to the park. No blacks in the park. No blacks in the park. They try to tell us to keep out, but we back to the park.
Three years later, Dr. Khallid would test his organizing ability as he called 1 million blacks to meet for similar reasons, but this time it would be aimed at the youth, and we would convene dead in the middle of the Black Mecca, Harlem. As the Million Youth March developed, it was attacked from every angle under the umbrella of Khallid being an anti-Semite, racist, homophobe, etc.
Now, I say that to say 3 years later, as Khallid continued to build his own type of brand or pathway, he called for 1 million youth march in New York, which did happen. It was an excellent event, the Million Youth March. It was sponsored by Master P, No Limit Records. Malik Zulu Shabazz was an organizer, and many others. Obviously, Al Sharpton spoke. A lot of people spoke. Plenty of black youth came out. At this time, Khallid Muhammad was becoming kind of that figure to lead the black youth. As Farrakhan was still the man, of course, but when it was the black radical youth, Dr. Khallid was the one that kind of sort of leaned to more. By this time, Khallid had, obviously, as I said, Master P paid the big money they needed for the Million Youth March.
But what was a bit of a surprise was the NOI committing to a separate march in Atlanta around the same time, which has to be considered as an attempt to undermine Dr. Khallid's program in New York, or as Coakley put it, straight up agent undermining.
You got to cover up. The final furnish to the final call. And I would never want to see them undermining another black organization, individual, or activity on behalf of the white man. I know the white man don't want to see the Million Youth March in New York with Khallid Muhammad and Sharpton and Coakley and some of these other outlaw people. But to get in the final call and advocate on behalf of the hunkies that it will be dangerous if we don't have permits, there's no dilemma no black man should ever be bringing forth in the public. This story right here. And when you all showed me this story last Wednesday, and I looked at it right during the lecture and I went off. Not only did they elevate the march in Atlanta and advocate 2 marches, the march in Atlanta is a straight undermined CIA government-inspired project. And all I'm concerned about is if I know it's the CIA, let me just step back and see who touches it in their behalf. Who shows up? The final call. Now, some of you all be scared to say some shit like that, but I'm so sure I know the government inspired this little undermining shit in this newspaper that in every fucking city, I ran the brothers off the corner in Hyde Park yesterday, there will not even be a place they can take no trash like this and undermine anything African. I'm not tolerating 1 ounce of undermining on their behalf or anyone else's, whether it be soul vegetarian, Nation of Islam. I wouldn't give a fuck who it is. If you do some shit that will on the surface will benefit the hunky, then you will pay the hunky price. Now some of you all ain't that into it. Some of you all ain't never done nothing so deep for black people that you felt being undermined, affronted in the public to the hunky would put you in jeopardy. But on the anniversary, on the day Brother Khallid got shot, you ain't gonna come out with no shit like this and get away with it. Guidance and warning to the march organizers in New York and Miami. But when you read the story, there is no strike for New York and Atlanta. There is no negative comment made to Atlanta, but there is a huge negative dialogue made to New York, like this. While the mayor and city officials in Atlanta seem to be acceptable to the Million Youth Movement, which is an integrationist, multi-ethnic voters registration, honky finance, Negro-led protest. Then when I thought about it, I remember how you undermined the protests in Philadelphia when the black family got beat up in Grays Ferry, and your man Rodney Muhammad called for the 5 million man response to stand up, and you made them sit down and cut a deal and walked up there with that honky bitch Mayor Rendell, white man of the Jewish religion, and tried to cool out the protest, which ended up a 500-man march instead of the 5,000-man march, because you usurped it. So I warn you as a master usurper, step on this shit, you will pay the price. And that's why we're taking it to you. We wouldn't want you to miss 1 ounce of an angle, we're taking it the fuck to you. And then, after I get through showing you Time Warner, where they try to undermine that, while we fighting the honky, they undermining the program. After I show you that, I'm going to show you Michael Collins again. I guess I got him too close. I'll show you Michael Collins again to let you know what the circumstances are of being a punk on behalf of the honky. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you made a mistake, but fuck around and play this shit and somebody gets shot again. I guarantee you the blood will flow from city to city. You best go get your guns. Because that's the only way we play it. We don't play no, and if I ever hear you beat another black man and get on Meet the Press and say you'll never touch the white man, we'll crush you.
You won.
Louis Muhammad sat down for an exclusive one-on-one with our Dominic Carter. Dominic joins us now with a few excerpts from the interview. Dominic?
Good evening, Louis. He's been called a demagogue and a racist. We know very little about the man at the center of the storm of tomorrow's Million Youth March. At times confrontational, at times lashing out at me, Muhammad defended his rhetoric and his mission. As for tomorrow, Muhammad says he hopes for a peaceful, orderly rally, but he will not rule out violence.
Believe in peace if possible, but violence when necessary.
Despite all the stern resistance, the march would go on, due to the help of many relentless grassroots organizers and last-minute financial support from a few entertainers, notably Master P of the independent No Limit Records, who donated a gracious amount to the cause.
So when the Million Youth March came, it was Khallid's time to kind of shine. And he did, as thousands came out with racist Rudy Giuliani vehemently against the march as a hate march. With all of the tactics he pulled, thousands still came out.
Young brother and sister, be a doctor if you want to be a doctor. Be a lawyer if you want to be a lawyer. Be a scientist, be an engineer if you want to be an engineer. Just use your talent and your knowledge for the benefit of your people.
The Million Youth March program was one of black nationalism, Pan-Africanism, and an uncompromising demand for black power. Many would grace the stage on that day, including Malik Zulu Shabazz, Al Sharpton, Leonard Jeffries, and many more. Thousands attended the event, and it was a huge success, but the unfortunate climax had not yet been reached.
Now, at the end of the Million Youth March, there was much controversy. Now, everybody agrees, in hindsight, that the police was over-aggressive, were trying to rile up something, and were acting as a militant shut down instead of police should with civilians. This led to a confrontation between the organizers of the march and the New York Police Department, okay? Which was a nasty confrontation. Obviously, it's something that's been building up. Now, at the end of the march, Dr. Khallid said some strong, true, but dangerous things. He basically militarized the youth to fight the police, if necessary, in self-defense, okay? Was he wrong for that? No. Hell, I don't think he was wrong at all. I'm glad he did it. I wish I was there.
As the march concluded, Rudy Giuliani and the NYPD stepped up their agitation as they rushed the march to end while showing an overt level of aggression, with officers in riot gear surrounding the mostly teenage-age crowd. Event organizers pleaded with police to back down as the crowd was attempting to peacefully disperse. But it was clear the NYPD wasn't looking for a peaceful end. These bloodthirsty beasts were looking for a reason to attack. Since diplomacy wasn't convincing the NYPD to back down, a much more militant approach became immediately necessary. As Khallid stared to the heavens and witnessed bloodthirsty beasts, ghetto birds, and choppers, this could easily be a bunch of black youth slaughtered. Dr. Khallid would unexpectedly step to the mic. He wasn't trying to start one, but was ready to finish this fight.
4 o'clock, we say, hell no. Bring on Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad.
Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! All praise is due to Allah. Giuliani, you have sent your troops, but these, the sons and daughters of Africa, the black youth in the hills of North America, we have a right to Kujichagulia and self-determination to defend ourselves against anyone who attacks us. Look these bastards in the eyes. And if anyone attacks you, already decide who will be the one to disconnect the railing where you are and beat the hell out of them with the railing where you are. No good bastards. And if you don't have a gun, every one of them has 1 gun, 2 guns, maybe 3 guns in self-defense. If they attack you, take their goddamn guns from them and use their guns on them. In self-defense. Giuliani is known for taking
his police and setting them off in riots. If any one of these bastards riots here today, you take their nightstick the way they did Brother Abdul Muhammad and ram it up their behinds and jam it down their damn throats. Giuliani, the black youth have God on their side. You came against us and called this a hate march. This is a love march, black on black love and black unity. We came in unity. We came in love. They changed all of the rules and stopped asking me about the Jews being the bloodsuckers of the black nation, the no good bastards. They are the bloodsuckers of the black community. How many say they're the bloodsuckers of the black community? Let me see your fists in the air. You don't fear the white man in your own community. They're trying to shut it down on the back. Are we going to let these bastards shut it down? Now we're going to ask the police, back your asses up, and we will leave in peace. Back your asses up, and we will leave in black love and unity, but get the hell out of the way and let our people go. Don't let nobody be arrested. If they grab anyone to arrest them and you know that it's a police riot and it is against even white law, then we fight like hell with those who fight against us. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Hold on. If I was there as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 22-year-old, and now, I'd been like, hell yeah, let's go. Tired of the police. Let's fight. We got them outnumbered this time. So a lot of other folks didn't like that. They felt that Khallid was putting those children in danger by militarizing them and getting them ready to fight the police in a fight that they figured basically would have been a slaughter. But in my opinion, it could have been a slaughter anyway. And standing up, in that moment was the right thing. But a lot of people didn't like it. They just felt that it showed that Khallid was way too radical. He was out of control. He couldn't control his anger. And Minister Farrakhan didn't like it either. He never directly said, well, I didn't like the way that Khallid did that publicly. But a short time after that, he was asked about it and he responded.
Brother Minister, I want to express my appreciation to you for the vision of the Million Man March. Thank you, sir. And for, through you, the millions of brothers and sisters and young people who have since mobilized. In the name of... I would like to say to Sister A.T. and Dennis Rogers, to Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz, Brother Khallid, it is a wonderful thing that God blessed you to do. the condition of our young people is a direct reflection of what is going on with our elders. So this hypocrisy in leadership, that we can be something in private and then something different in the public. It's good to be gifted and talented, and it's good to have vision. If you do what you do to be seen of men, if you do what you do for vain purposes, if you do what you do not for the advancement of others, but for the advancement of yourself, but you use the noble principle of unity and advancement as a tree to hide behind, you ain't gonna get nothing. You'll just be the young punk that grow up to be the old sissies, like your people that went before you. If you don't make a change, and I'm not talking about just jaw-jibbing, if you're not going to be better than we are. And let me close on this youth march. If young people say, oh, hell, if you're 35 or 40, you ain't got nothing to say to us. That's a stupid statement. Where the hell have you been? Young man, what do you think your 20 or 30 years on this earth has taught you that a 60-year-old man hadn't already seen and done, fell in a hole, got up out of it? I'm going to pay you respect, but I'm not going to pacify you. There's a lot that we can do and do better. But did you seek counsel? Who did you counsel with? You counsel with those who sold out already? What was it you were trying to prove? Do you know why the Million Man March was the most successful thing that ever happened? Because no vanity was involved in the motivation. I wanted to see black men respected because our motive was right. I'm going to say this. You wouldn't be thinking about million nothing if God hadn't given me that kind of vision. Now you listen now. Where you get the idea from? Where did you get the idea from? Why is it that you got the idea from what God blessed me to do, but you didn't call me? You didn't seek me, and you didn't want me. You wanted to prove that you could do it on your own. I'm sorry. You ain't never going to be successful thinking like that. If God blessed me to open up a way for you, if you don't honor the man that opened up the way for you, how in the hell you think God is going to make you successful? But man, look, I noted what I saw in you, Zulu. I see the future great. But if you knock down the shoulder, what you gonna stand on? We're an ungrateful people. And if you happen to get an idea from one who got an idea from the message, then don't act like you did it on your own. See? Give credit where credit is due, and God will give you credit for whatever you do. Just remember this.